Going further, I'm a people lead as I was introduced before. I work for Zalando. Previously, I worked for Google from the test engineering side. One difference that I saw when we moved to Zalando is that we needed to change the whole system of how we work together, how we make software. And I'm going to discuss that in details with you. For many of you who don't know what Zalando is, that is Zalando. And we are placed in all these countries, and we moved from Germany, Austria, Switzerland, to Spain, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, UK, Poland, and the Nordics. This is where we are placed. We have 15 countries. So now a question to the audience. How many of you have shopped on Zalando? Wow, great. At least some hands there. How many of you have heard of Zalando? Great, now you've heard of it, but previously. Okay. Have you heard that we have a web page for UK? Because mostly we are here and nobody knows about us in Zalando, in UK. Great discounts, great things. Please go shop there. Also, we have a mobile app. Everybody has it. We also have it. Please shop there. It's really amazing. We need some more traffic from UK. Going further, I'm going to drop some numbers here just to bring some perspective. 15 countries, said that already, 3 fulfillment centers, all in Germany. There's a big thing that came up today. We are doing a single day delivery in some parts of Germany, and we want to expand it to other parts of the world. Other things there, 16 million customers, active customers. UK population can double that number, I guess. More than 2.2 billion revenue. Visits per month and employees. It's surprising to see that we have 8,000 employees and more because we have a logistics center and a warehouse where we have lots of employees. Out of these, there are at least 900 to 1,000 tech employees. And we're all based in Berlin, Dublin, and Helsinki. Please visit us. This is how the shop looks from, let's say, from a very animated, nice picture drawn by one of my colleagues at Zalando. Really happy. Our customers are very happy. We have the satisfaction index really high. I don't have the numbers, but I know it's really high. UK page, I wanted to have it general neutral, and then the only way I can put that is kids up here, so please visit this. You can find a lot of stuff for kids as well, and men and women. Backend doesn't look that nice. It's gray, it's something's broken, something's fixed, something's still in progress. And there's a picture that's probably a few years ago. I also wanted to show you about the old picture where our systems are connected, services connected in a certain way. We had SOAP for basic messaging services. We had logistics center, our own software running on the centers, huge database. Yes, it was complicated at some point in time. It was not something that we could take further. Evolution, every company does it. We started in 2008, we evolved. There's a funny picture here that we put together. We started with PHP, MySQL, let's say like every other open source e-commerce company does. We started with Magento. We moved on, rebuilt everything with Java, used all sorts of technologies to make sure that we are one stack. We moved on, became Jedi Knights because we had huge number of technologies, huge number of languages and tools that we started using at one point in time. It was getting very difficult to manage. The next picture is really funny. We didn't want to be on the dark side anymore. We wanted to be on the other side. As Obi-Wan Kenobi says, it takes strength to resist the dark side. Only the weak embrace it. The thing that we had before was probably weak. The systems were not very efficient. And we wanted to move further. Again, an old picture. Most of our stack looked like that, with business logic almost in every place. We had thousands of Java classes. We had undocumented features. We had stuff which was kind of called a spaghetti code. Engineers were kind of afraid to touch one part of it because they don't know what's going to break and who's going to complain. Which business unit is going to come and say, hey, who touched that code? Who broke this thing? It was getting very complicated at one point in time. Single deployment, on-premise data centers, everything following one stack. Bad picture. 2014, we were a fashion company, and until then, we were also known to be selling shoes. So if somebody talks about Zalando, it's, oh, yeah, shoes. So if I go to my family and say, you know what, or my friends, my family is not here, but my friends, they say, Zalando, oh, shoes. And you have a huge warehouse. But then the spin came now when we said, we don't want to be a fashion company. Oh, yes, we are, but we want to be a tech company that provides fashion as a service. The paradigm shift had to happen because we're all moving towards providing services, platform, software, and fashion as a service. The whole thing needed to change, definitely, because we wanted to create an environment where everybody can work on different systems independently and autonomously. Moving on, the goal that we had in 2015 was to deliver amazing products efficiently and to make sure that we feel great about it. Every engineer, every product specialist, everybody in the company feels great about it. This was a theory that our VP, Eric Bowman, who joined us last year in September, came up with, saying, well, guys, we need to ramp up everything. We need to move this faster. How do we be efficient, we scale, and feel great about it? These are three different components. There's one technical part of it, and there's one non-technical part of it. That's when I come into picture. We wanted to change, of course. A change on the organization level, a change that restructures the company completely. Every change is difficult to handle. Every change disrupts the organization. And this change was a disruption for the whole organization. This happened in March this year. I'm going to use the word here, but then there's a big slide, and generally these are one of our buzzwords. It's called radical agility. We move systems faster. The idea here is not to have teams that are coupled in this way and work together in small circles, but to change them into independent, autonomous entities that can work on independent features that they pick from product. We want to reduce complexity. We want to make it fast. We wanted to make sure that alignment happens, communication happens. And then we moved from a structure which was completely closed and controlled to a very independent, open design, which means we had to move from monolithic to microservice. This also called in for a new leadership pattern, and this is what I was talking about before. We wanted to divide the whole leadership into delivery leadership and people leadership. We're talking about efficiency, we're talking about great products, we're talking about having fun at work. How do we combine that when there's one tech lead who handles everything? There's a time when the tech lead would probably be overwhelmed with all these things and will himself not be efficient in that role. That was broken down. You see these little circles, these big circles here, these are teams. And the smaller circles and the happy faces are the engineers. So then we had a model where we said the delivery lead and people lead take care of the teams together. The difference here is that delivery lead takes care of the team to make sure the delivery happens, to make sure that you're able to pick the right software, right tools, right technologies to produce better software. People leads make sure that the individuals are able to work better, have fun at work, learn something, feel important, feel valued, stay in the organization, keep moving inside the organization. There's a new structure that came up. We are not blue, we are really happy and nice. It's not blue, but yeah. To explain that in better picture, which I downloaded yesterday, I think this shows it all. We have a delivery lead on the other side who is joined to the teams, takes care of teams' delivery process. There's a people lead who takes care of individuals, takes care that there is learning happening, that people are happy working in a place. This is a term, when I say that in Zalando, probably everybody claps, but yeah, this is radical agility. We have been doing radical agility since March, and it's really been a success. It's only been 6-7 months now, we're implementing it, and I'm assuming that it'll take at least a year or two for us to entirely restructure ourselves in the company. It's 8,000 plus technical people in the organization, imagine the scale. So radical agility happened. What happens with radical agility is an architecture that changes. We needed to be innovative, we needed to be creative, we needed to have more autonomy given to people so they can be creative. Now the whole idea of being creative and innovative, it's a very hip thing, everybody talks about it. But at Zalando, this whole thing came up with Hack Week, a concept called Hack Week. Okay, let me ask this. How many of you know about Hack Weeks at Zalando? Nobody. How many of you know about hack weeks in general? Yeah, that's nice. So yeah, hack weeks at Zalando are a whole week where you don't do what you're doing. You just work on different things and make sure that there's a product at the end of the week. You pick your colleagues, you pick the team, you pick the tools, you pick the technology, and produce something. You could see some of them at the booth, and there's a space shoe. We sent even a shoe to space, a golden shoe. Now we don't know what was the aim there, but then yes, we could see something really productive happening, something really fun happening, people really focusing on that. We could even see people coming in sharp at 9 and leaving at 7 and working together in teams. Imagine a workplace that gives you Hack Week environment all through the year. That is something we want to do, and that's why we came up with this radical agility. So, going by that, we also needed to change the architecture. Moving from monolithic one stack, more than 70 deployment units running through, we want to change that to go to API first. By API first, we mean that we want all the APIs to be one format written, mostly in Swagger. We want to make sure that we follow predefined guidelines. It's not mandatory, but at least it's good to know what guidelines exist. We also want to make sure that different teams should work in different ways, but then they all should have one certain format that it looks like one person has written all the APIs. And that's why we go by Swagger. Going to next, of course, we needed REST because the architecture is scalable, we can take it further, it's reliable, and everything looks similar when we go by RESTful APIs. Software as a service that's autonomous, that's decoupled, it's independent, you can deploy them independently, make sure that libraries are not overlapped, making sure that the libraries can be made open source at some point in time, and avoid complexity. We also wanted to make sure that we can offer software as a solution, as a service solution to third parties. Microservice, what can I say about it? I mean, we have done a lot of talks about microservice in many of the meetups, but yes, we wanted to make sure that microservices are not large, they are small. Going by some principle, I think it's by Amazon, that your team should not be too large that you cannot feed them with 2 pizzas. And if that's a team that works on a microservice, you get better results. We want to make sure that we have service layers, keep complexity to macro level, move fast, be agile. Cloud. We tried out our own cloud solution sometime in the past. It was working okay-ish because we wanted to build everything ourselves. I think Germany is known for that, build everything yourself in-house. So we tried that. But our VP, Eric Bowman, he came and said, when there's some solutions available, why don't we try that? Why do you want to build everything yourself in-house? And that's when we thought of AWS, and we don't want to restrict ourselves with AWS. We are open to other cloud solutions as well. So yes, we wanted to have multiple data centers. We have currently, I think, 3 or 4 data centers. I have them here. 2 in Germany, 2 in Germany, 2 in Berlin, some in Dublin, and so on. Yeah, Berlin is in Germany, by the way. Okay, so you wanted to go to Polyglot multi-framework environment. Some of the technologies that we are working on currently, this is like just a few of them. We also follow something called Tech Radar. If you know about Netflix and they have this Tech Radar system available, we have something called Adopt, Assess, and Hold for the technologies. And these are some of them. I'm not saying these are all of them, and I'm not saying these are the first 20 of ours, but these are the frameworks, technologies, tools, languages that we are using. It's just to show you the complexity of how many tools, languages people are using, and how do we scale that. I can show you some examples of 3 different teams here. We have platform, IAM, and brand analytics, where the platform team uses Clojure for its microservices, uses Java for auditing and reporting, Node.js for front end, and Python for scripting. On the other hand, IAM uses Go for microservice, Java for hacking, and Node.js for the front end. We have brand analytics that uses Scala, both Akka and Play framework for their microservice, uses Java for hacking, and uses BigQuery for the SQL dialect. So this is one thing that I wanted to bring forward, that we have diversity in multiple ways. Managing that gets harder and harder. at a higher level. Because everybody wants to do something that they're interested in, and then it gets really complicated at some point in time. Again, radical agility. How did that help us manage this whole system? One thing that radical agility came up with are 3 principles: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. They're the other way around, but doesn't matter. Purpose, autonomy, mastery, in the right order now. By definition, you know, and I'm just going to read out the definition from Oxford. Purpose means an object towards which one strives or for which something exists. So if I, as an individual, know what's my purpose in this team, in this organization, in this product, I know what to do. Autonomy comes when you're self-organized and independent, have minimum to no dependencies. You come into work, you know what feature you have to take, you know how to work on it, you just work, produce results, feel happy. One thing that I want to stress more is mastery. Okay, I have everything available. I'm free to choose what I want to choose. I'm free to pick the feature I want to work on. I'm free to deploy the way I want to do it. Do I have the skills to do it? I want to do it, but do I have the skills to do it? Should I start to look for another job to learn Scala? Should I look for doing some open source projects at home so I can get better at my job? And we say no. We say mastery is one of our principles. We can provide you the environment to work, to learn, and to implement. That's a nice picture also drawn by one of our colleagues. He's really, really good, very artistic. I'm going to read some of the text over here because it's maybe difficult to read. We move from hierarchical structure to more independent, organized work units. The aim for this radical agility was to make sure that we become Europe's most agile tech company that drives innovation and business growth through world-class technical products for the fashion platform. So there are some buzzwords that we use: innovation, agile, fast, consumer-centric, independent, fun at work. Combine these together, and that's what we call radical agility. We want to have to manifest the purpose, which means I understand the mission and I know why I'm here and what I have to do. Nobody tells me. There's no tech lead or somebody who tells me, no, you're going wrong, you need to do it differently. I'm allowed to make my mistakes and learn from them and show to people how you can improve and work further. People are given the room to learn. People are given the room to make mistakes. People are given more responsibility. And that way, people get more self-organized, self-managed. Moving towards coaching and developing individuals, that's where mastery comes in place. Sometimes, I know engineers in Zalando who've been there for 4 years and 5 years, who've been doing the same Java development again and again, and they're used to it, they're happy with it. But something is missing, and they know it. It just takes a little while to talk to people and to explain and understand what is missing. And they say, you know, I feel stagnant. I feel I've done a lot, I've contributed enough, I'm doing the same thing, but I need to do something more than that. Challenge me. And that's when I say, would you like to try Scala? Would you like to do something else? Do you want to move to the platform team? Do you want to do something totally different? All that is possible when I can provide an environment for somebody to master a skill. We wanted to move from control and command to purpose and trust. We are in control, but we're not moving out of this room, but control and command to purpose and trust. Basics of radical agility. I'm going to talk to you about mastery. It's only been 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes, but I'm towards the end of my slide, so you have a lot of time to ask questions. How did we want to make mastery as one of our key pillars, and how do we want to move ahead with that? The inspirations come from the book, The Alliance, and we had a chance to talk to Ben and to understand how this framework works. One thing that he says, or it's also on the website, you could look it up, it's stop thinking of employees as family or free agents and start thinking of them as allies on a tour of duty. Now, tour of duty is a big word, and it's a military term used for people in the army to go in front, have a mission, succeed, and come back. I don't think we can use such a term for engineers, for technical people. So we wanted to make it a little nicer and call it Tour of Mastery, which is not any different. But by Tour of Mastery, of course, we need to have a purpose, because that's one thing that radical agility forces us to look into. The purpose for Tour of Mastery is to make sure that there's an objective that describes a win-win situation for Zalando and the engineers and the employees. We're not limiting to engineers, but we're talking about all employees there. The gain here, okay, we understand what's the gain for Zalando. Of course, it's got great skill, great talent, first-class citizens there, everything works fine. But what's the gain for the employee? What can I say? A learning environment. You learn, you practice, you see how you're moving further. You just scale yourself and make yourself better. That's the benefit. I'm going to add few things to myself as a skill set that I've acquired as being a part of Zalando. One thing that I, as a people lead, tell people that are associated with me is, if you would like to leave Zalando, let me know. Let me know if I can do something for you inside the organization. Otherwise, take the skills you have earned and go. And that's fine. We respect your decision. And that's the kind of mutual trust and understanding we need to have. So, pretty picture again drawn by one of our people leads here. As every process has phases, we also had phase. We had initiation, execution, and preparation. Or the other way around. Initiation, preparation, and execution. What we did in initiation phase, and I will go to the next slide where I can show you some pictures, that the leads talk with individuals here and understand aspirations, understand core values. What do you want to do? What are your core aspirations? How do you want to go ahead? As an engineer, and we have a new term or new role called a producer, who is the link between the product team and the engineering team. So producers, engineers, what do you want to do? What's your aim? How do you want to proceed further? In Zalando's terms, what do you want to do? So I don't want to hear someone saying, I want to be the best skier in the world. Well, sorry, can't provide that, but we'll try my best. On the other hand, if you have aspiration that says, I want to be an expert in Java 8 or Scala, or want to be a cloud engineer, or work with technologies with AWS and all, of course we can do that. We can talk about this. We can see how we can allocate some time from your daily job that you can work and improve yourself. Once that talk happens, we define certain checkpoints to say, okay, let's understand, how do you want to take this path further? You want to learn something, great. We can provide you with environment, but we also need to understand, what are the milestones you want to have? Do you want to complete this whole mission or your tour of mastery in 3 months, in 6 months, in 10 months? What's your time period? By Zalando's term, we say a tour of mastery lasts at least 18 months to 20 months. But there are people who are fast enough to finish that in 6 to 8 months, and that's fine. It's absolutely, perfectly all right for us. Tour of duty, on the other hand, from Alliance book, says that the tour of duty stays for 24 months at least, because then you grow people slowly. And LinkedIn has this approach of a tour of duty, where you have an aspiration. It could be to become a CTO of the organization, and then you take 5 years of your time, invest your time little by little, and grow and get better. Well, we wanted to make it agile, make it faster. So we said, you pick the technology or tool or whatever you want to learn that makes you feel better. One of my aspirations is to be a speaker, and this is one of my trainings here. I'm practicing that here. I'll go back to Zalando and say, yeah, it was good crowd, cheered me up, it was nice. So you're supposed to cheer me up now. All right, going further. Path to execution. So I'm on my path to execution. I'm executing my speaker skills, which are not so good, but I will see the ratings later. So then we have certain deadlines or checkpoints, and we have certain path that you want to do. It could be prototyping. It could be working on real tickets. It could be trying out a new product. It could be moving from one team to the other. Rotation is definitely possible. It could be, I don't want to be an engineer anymore. I want to be a product specialist. Why not? If you're thinking in terms of Zalando, if you're thinking in terms of how you can improve yourself and the company, everything is possible. You don't have to look for another job. We have jobs inside of Zalando that can suffice you. Then we come back to a place where we say, yay, goal achieved, which for me would be probably an year or two from here after speaking in 10 or 20 conferences. But yeah, once I achieve my goal, I'll be really happy. It doesn't stop there. It moves on. You talk again about your new aspirations, because once your goal is achieved, you're not complete. You have new aspirations, and you work on that. And then you go up the ladder to your mastery, and you become completely skilled in what you want to do. So, some of the results of the whole radical agility is that we have open source code available everywhere. Please check our repositories. These are just a sample. I have some more written down here. We have Play Swagger, which provides Swagger support for Play framework. We have Connection, which is the Python Flask framework to magically handle REST API requests based on Swagger. Please try them out. There are at least 18, 20, 50 of them. I don't know, I didn't count them one by one, but they're 8 pages and at least 20 per page. Please look at them, share your feedback, let us know what you're thinking and where we can improve. I'm going to conclude now with final thoughts saying radical agility, something that helped us move faster, something that made us more responsible, made every engineer feel a part of the company. We also have things that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, this is not an agile, lean, Scrum, or Kanban methodology, but a whole organization structural change. I got that from one of my recruiters to say that, so I'm going to say that now. So it's an organization change that combines all these methods. In some way or the other, we are agile. In some way or the other, we are lean. I can't bucketize them into saying this is strictly agile or lean or rugged, I don't know. But we're moving further to a complete organization restructure that helps us move faster, avoid complexity, make sure that everybody is happy and is delivering great software. And check us out, Twitter, Instagram, GitHub, tech blog, jobs also available. And come to our booth. We don't have so much time after this session. Today is the last day, but please feel free to come to our booth and talk to us. Remember to rate these sessions. Very important for me because my tour of mastery is to be a public speaker. Thank you so much.
Don't go anywhere. We have some questions. So, this is great. So, how do you manage? So there's a sense, I think, of a loss of control. Mm-hmm. So the question is, how do you manage all of this project work with so many autonomous teams? How do you know what's getting done? How does the right stuff get done?
Well, we have other teams, overarching teams that take care of things that are project management for specific things, saying which project starts when and ends when. That's completely decoupled with our engineering organization. Autonomous teams, in a way, are responsible for what they're delivering. So they know what they're doing. It's also their responsibility to document what they're delivering, either by an open source or by documenting internally somewhere, and to let the project management guys that we are on the track. So that's one way we are able to manage the whole autonomous teams.
Fantastic, thank you. And the other question we've got here is, more questions coming in, brilliant. So how will you know, there's a metrics question, how will you know your new organizational structure is efficient? So you said at the beginning, we are trying to build a more efficient organization, more efficient people. How will you know whether it's efficient in terms of the org structure and also in terms of the architecture, the systems you're building?
Well, I can just say one thing, look at our open source repository, and that says it for itself. Because this is one thing that we did not have before mid last year. And if we are able to produce such great open source repositories for any number of things that we are working on, that's one thing that I can definitely say we are in the right direction. We've also seen that when we decouple leadership from teams, when the leadership only guides the team and people are able to work by themselves, they produce amazing results. They make mistakes, definitely, and that's allowed. You can make mistakes because you learn. Nobody holds your hand and says, if you falter here, you're going to fall. Rather, people say, try it out, fall, get up, walk. And that's something that we are working on. And it's really nice. It's working really well.
Fantastic. And then last question. So what do you do when an employee asks for a pay rise?
We give it. Well, why shouldn't we? If you think you are the right employee, if you think you have done a great job and you deserve a raise, first of all, it's a mistake that we did not recognize it. So we take it on ourselves, on the leadership team. Second, if you feel that way, we do it. There's no two ways about it. So if you think that there's an industry standard and you're getting paid lesser than that, we should definitely talk about it. We should make sure things are moving further. We also have process in place where we want to restructure everything. That's what we are talking about, disrupting the whole structure. We will have new payrolls. We will have new systems in place. We will have new job titles. We will have probably no job titles, and everybody's called an engineer or a lead. That's all, or nothing. You can pick your job titles yourself. We are restructuring that part of it in the organization phase. I expect that this comes in place by mid next year or first quarter, end of next year.
Marvelous. Sorry, there's more questions coming in, I'm afraid.
Yes, please.
So this is about legacy. So if you're asking developers what they want to do, and they're all saying, we want to do cool cloud stuff, and we want to be out there, and you've got this big pile of legacy systems that no one really wants to work on, How do you manage that imbalance?
Right. Same situation that happened in Zalando. It's the same situation, and I can talk about it. We had this whole shop front end coupled with the back end, which runs on legacy code, and nobody wants to touch it, nobody wants to work on it. But then there are some people who have to maintain it, and it's really pain. Then there's with the agile mechanism, we put down a team called Task Force that sits together, plans the new architecture, does some prototyping, expands it, and then we completely erase the legacy code. We just have a new build code, and everything works fine. That's one way that we're handling it. It's a work in progress. Definitely nobody wants to work on legacy stuff, but then when you're building something new, you would also want to know how was it before. So you're going to look at it, and maybe, because out of curiosity, you're going to work and fix something. That'll help us somehow.
Fantastic. I'll give one more question, then I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
So this is a proficiency thing. So how do you make sure enough people in the company are proficient in all of these many, many technologies that are all coming in now?
Right, great question. You can send more questions, but yeah, I can answer this one. We in People Leads team are now trying to create a skills matrix. We want to see who is skilled in what, and what are the people picking as a tour of mastery. So once we have this large matrix of masters in certain skills and people who want to learn certain skills, we can couple them and create our own networking. So you don't have to go to a workshop, I don't want to use the name, but some workshop and learn it, but you can learn from your colleagues. You can do pair programming, you can learn. So we are creating this whole set of skills matrix, and that'll help us understand where do we stand on technologies, on languages, on who is doing what, and how are we moving further.
Cool, fantastic, thank you very much. Any other questions? Anyone want to put their hand up? No, in which case, thanks very much, that was fantastic.
Thank you so much.